Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. Welcome to Getting Started, and I'm your host Julia Masalska. How's everybody doing? I see there are a lot of people already in the chat joining us. Jeanish, Roberta, Bruno. How are you guys doing? Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. And Andreas is here, and Neeraj and Steve. Everybody seems to be in a good mood. Super cool. Guys, I'm so excited to get you guys started in Adobe Illustrator. Yesterday we started working in Illustrator on the iPad, and today we are going to be working on the desktop. We are going to take the same file that I've been working on yesterday, and I'm going to take it to the desktop, and I'm going to finalize some things, create myself a library, and so on for my Crazy Beans coffee branding. So I'm really excited for that. And we have Lady Boss joining. Morning, hi, good to see you. Cool. And we have Tim also here. It's very, very nice to have you guys all from different places here in this small, I don't know, meeting room or on this small platform here. So it's really, really cool to have you guys. Okay, so to jump back to what we did yesterday, first of all, let's quickly take a look at the schedule. So that you guys get an idea of what's going on today. So we are getting started the day literally with Julia Masalska, who is me. By the way, if you want to find me on Instagram, that's also my handle, Julia Masalska. After that, we have Jason Levine with a video daily creative challenge. Super cool to check out. Premiere Rush is the software that Jason has been working on yesterday. Let's see what he's gonna do today. And then we have Jesus Ramirez with the Photoshop daily creative challenge. Super cool also to check out if you're a beginner in Photoshop. Then we have Mike Jones with drawing and painting. And then Claudia, my friend, she's really amazing. Illustrator daily creative challenge. If you want to learn Illustrator step by step, learning a new tool every single day, this is the perfect show for you. Then we have Howard Pinsky with some web design. Howard is also really fun. And then we have Jesse, Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. We have so many daily creative challenges going on. As you can see, we have whole 4 of them. And each one of them has a Discord community, and you can participate in each one of those. And it's completely free. So if you are new to Adobe software, those are really great for you to check out. After that, we have Doodle Therapy with Susan Lin and Alice Lee. Super, super cool, my friends. So for all of you who are joining on YouTube live right now, make sure to head over to be.net/live. This is where I'm going to be reading the comments and answering the questions. Super cool. Awesome. And Trent is saying, hey, hi, good to see you. All right, my friends, so let's jump quickly into the iPad situation from yesterday so that we can recap what we did yesterday. So yesterday we were doing some experiments on this Crazy Beans logo, and as you can see, I have created several lockups, including a type on a path one. Then we have created this badge looking logo, and then we also, so we basically have 5 different variations of the logo. And we have determined the typeface for the header, the subheader, and the body text. So I'm going to take this file. It's actually a cloud file. Once you work in Illustrator on the iPad, it automatically saves to the cloud. And I can already access this exact same file on my Illustrator on the desktop. So this is where we're going to be jumping into next. If you have missed yesterday's session, if you want to learn more about, different tips and tricks on the iPad in Illustrator, make sure to check out yesterday's session as well. But just stay here for now and hang out with me. Let me know in the chat what you're all up to this week. Hi Vanessa, good to see you. And Shamira is also joining us. Very cool. So I have this file opened in Illustrator on the desktop now. So as you can see, we have this little cloud symbol right here next to the file name. And that means that this is a cloud file. So whenever I make edits here in Illustrator on the desktop, it will also be making the same edits on the iPad. So whenever I open the same file on the iPad again, the edits that I've made on my Illustrator on the desktop will be automatically transferred there as well. So it's one and the same file completely that I'm working at, which is really, really amazing. So for now, I'm gonna turn off my iPad. I'm gonna put it by side a little bit so I have a little bit more space to work on the desktop now. So now that I have the header, I have the subheader, and I have the body text typefaces. By the way, this one is a really, really cool typeface. It's called Freehouse Rough. I really love that it has a texture in it. So whenever we outline it, we will be able to see the background through it. And we're going to experiment with some colors. Today, we're going to apply the logo to different color palettes and experiment how the color palette that we have created yesterday actually works. First, what I wanted to show you guys, if you are new to Illustrator, if you don't know where to get typefaces, if you don't know where to get colors, let's quickly jump into fonts.adobe.com, and this is our site where you can get free fonts. So I'm going to go on to fonts.adobe.com, and this is where you can get typefaces for free, and they're part of the type kit, so they are included in your CC subscription if you have one. Let me quickly log in here. Let me know in the chat if you guys have ever used fonts and what you think about it. So when you land on the page, you will be able to discover this super amazing typographic superpower tags game. Very cool. And also you'll be able to see that there are so many typefaces here. We can see over 167 pages full of typefaces. And here on the left side, you will find the different tags and the classification. So in my case, I'm using a sans serif, and I'm also using a rough typeface. Rough you can find here. So there is a tag called rough, and this is where you can get all those amazing textured typefaces. To activate a typeface, you can click on the family, and then here you can activate the 7 fonts by just clicking on it, or you can just go in and select any of these fonts and activate it by themselves. So, and then once you have activated it, it will be available in your Illustrator right away here in your settings. So let's say I want to change the typeface here. I'm going here into my properties panel, and here I'll be able to select the typeface that I just downloaded. It will be available right here. So this is how you do that. And now let's take a quick look at our colors. So we have another page from Adobe that's called color.adobe.com. And there you can get everything related to colors. You can create amazing color palettes. You can explore some really cool stuff here. So here we have a really cool page that's called Trends. I really love that one because it is divided in certain topics. So we have fashion, we have graphic design, we have illustration, interaction, architecture, and so on. And you can go on to each of those. You'll be able to copy the code here as well and put it into your Illustrator file, or you can also add it to your libraries, and then you'll be able to access the libraries inside Illustrator. So this is basically how that works. And so today we're going to be basically continuing the work on my Crazy Beans file. Right now, what I'm working on, this is actually just a, it's just an idea, just one concept of my logo design. And this will be just one small part of my whole process. Whenever I design a logo or branding for a client, it always includes a logo in different lockups. So it's, I usually present several concepts of logos. So this will be just maybe one concept, but then I will be continuing further, and I would create even more variations that look totally different from this. So this is just one concept here that I'm working on, and that includes these 3 typefaces, this color palette, and these 5 logo lockups. So for now, what I want to do is I want to create a library for myself. So whenever, let's say, I want to jump into Photoshop or into XD or into Dimension, I already have a library set up, and I can just pull in the assets. And I can also share this library with my client. And that's really, really amazing. I also can collaborate on this library. So let's say I'm working together with other designers. We can totally edit a library together and, update the different graphics and colors together. So to get to the libraries, let's quickly see how you can open the libraries even. So once you open Illustrator on the desktop, we're going onto Window, and here we can activate the libraries. Once you activate the libraries, you have this window pop up. And this window is pretty cool because you will be able to see all of your all of your different folders in your libraries, right? So here I have my different folders that I have been working on in the past. But what I want to do right now, I want to create a new one. So I'm clicking on this little plus down here. Hopefully you guys can see. And it adds a library. It adds a library for me, which I'm going to create a new library. And that will be called Crazy Beans, because this is my new brand that I'm working on and I have not created a library for it yet. Okay, so now I have this library. It's basically seen as a folder, right? Kind of like a document folder. And I'm going to place all of the relevant things for my brand into this folder. And those are the colors, the typefaces, and the different graphics. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline these. As you can see, we still have a text file in here, but what I want to do is I want to outline that so it's just a graphic. So I'm going to go into Command Shift and O, and now as you can see, it transferred into vectors. So here we can go in and we can transformate all of these vectors here by themselves. And that I want to do for all of these, of course, except for my typefaces, because I'm not going to save them as graphics. I'm going to save them as character styles, so I can just reuse them later on, right? So I'm going to save this logo by selecting it. Also, I'm going to group it. That's what I usually do, so that whenever you move it around, it doesn't, you know, separate the different parts or anything. So I'm going to group this logo, and I'm going to click the little plus here again, and I'm going to save the graphic. So I have saved this logo here now. Now I'm going to save this one again, Command G for group, and I'm going to save it to my library. Graphics saved. And now this one. This one is already grouped because it was already one big group before. So I'm clicking graphic, and again for this one, same thing. Here again I have to group. As you can see right now, I have only this Crazy Beans thing in the middle selected, but I want to select all of those, Command and G, and I have a group for my logo now, and I save it as a graphic again. Now we have saved all of these logos. What I want to do is now I want to save my character styles. For that, I'm clicking on the box with the character style in it. I'm clicking plus, and instead of selecting graphic or anything else, I'm clicking character style. So now I have this character style that's called Free House, which is the typeface, right? That is in this text box. And the same thing I'm going to do for my subheader. Again, character style. And now I am going to save the body. So the body will be also a character style. And as you can see, the libraries automatically already group for me the graphics, the character styles. And now what I'm missing is the colors, right? My color palette is what I'm missing. So I'm selecting the object that has the fill color that I want to save. It can be a circle, can be literally anything. I can even save the fill color of my logo, anything that I want. So now what I want to do is I want to save the fill color, the red one and the yellow one and the orange one. There we go. There we go. And another one. And the last one, which is my really light gray that I want to save. And now as you can see, we have the colors, the different character styles. The difference between saving a typeface and the character style is that the character style already has the sizing of the letters, right? So it has saved here not only the name of the typeface, but also that it's 9 points and the leading and the kerning. Everything's basically set in the character style. And once I start typing something, let's say I want to create something new, I have this default typeface here. I can go ahead and select that, and it will already be in the perfect size and the perfect character style that I have pre-selected, right? Okay, my friends, so now the fun part, we have created our library, so we have saved all of our assets. We can invite someone here to share the library, which is somebody who can maybe co-edit or just view the library, and they can have access to all of these things that are located inside the library. Now let's go back into properties. By the way, the properties panel is really, really cool if you guys are new to Illustrator. I recommend you guys activate it. Again, if you go into Window, Properties, and Activate it, so there is a little activated thingy and before that. And so whenever you click on an object, so let's say I have this character style here, right? I will only have the necessary settings pop up, the necessary properties pop up that are relevant for this object. So as you can see, since this is a typeface, this is a text object, I have all the different character settings, paragraph settings, and align settings here. Now, if I click on this type of object, I'll have more of appearance settings and how to change the color. So Illustrator basically shows me only the settings that I need to change for this specific object. I usually work with Properties panel on all the time. So whenever I work in Illustrator, I have my Properties panel activated here. And you can totally also customize your workspace here. Now, let's get going. Let's start experimenting with the colors. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull in the logo and I'm going to set it in different color settings, and I want to see how my logo actually works in those color settings, right? So now I have my artboard tool selected, and I'm going into here, move artwork with artboard. I want to deselect that because I just want to copy and paste the artboard. Holding Option, I'm just dragging it to the side, and now I have just copied the artboard. What I want to do now is I want to fill it with color so I can see in full size how my logo is actually working. So by default, Illustrator already selected one of the colors that I had before. So let's just use that one for now. But we are also going to try some other colors, right? So what I want to do is I'm just going to copy this artboard, but this time I'm going to check the move artwork with artboard. That means my rectangle that I've already placed on the artboard will be also copied, and that will save me maybe a couple seconds of time to create a new rectangle, right? So, but in the end of the day, it's always great to save time wherever you can. If you, you know, learn new shortcuts, learn new things that can save you time, that's always good, right? So cool. By the way, feel free to ask questions in the chat if you have any question. Hi, Sitara, good to see you. The audio levels are low. Okay, let's see. Maybe I can increase my audio levels just a little bit, right? So let's see right here. Okay, so it should be a little bit louder now. Let me know if you guys are hearing me well. Cool. Okay, so okay, hi Ashraful, good to see you. Yeah, come say hi in the chat, guys. I'm here, I'm live, and I can answer your questions if you have any. So now what I want to do is I want to make this rectangle in this artboard yellow. So what I want to do is I want to use the eyedropper tool, and it's shortcut key I on your keyboard. And the eyedropper tool opens this little pipette thing, I don't know what's it called, but it basically drops the color that you point on onto this object that you've selected. So that's what I want to do. I want to test how my colors actually work, you know, black on white. Also very important, although my black is not really a black and my white is not really a white, but it gives a lot of contrast and it gives you an idea how the whole logo actually works, right? So what I want to do now is I'm just going to grab one of these logos and I'm just going to copy paste it into the artboard, right click and arrange bring to front so that it's actually located in the front of the artboard. And now we have the logo kind of placed already. What I want to do is maybe I want to change the color. So I want to go for the lighter version instead. I think that's a pretty cool color combination already. But what if we place color on color? So now let me experiment how it looks if I place color on color. What I want to do is maybe the yellow, I think, because that's a pretty good color to contrast to red. So let's see how that works. That works pretty well as well. Crazy beans. It looks pretty cool. I'm kind of enjoying this right now. So now I'm going to pull in the white one. Let me actually use a different one for now. So this logo, let's see how that looks over here. Again, I'm right clicking, arranging, bringing to front. And I'm going to work maybe with this dark color because yellow and white probably won't work together, right? Because if I have it white, you will be able to see that there is not enough contrast, but I do want to show you guys so you kind of can understand what I'm talking about. there is not a lot of contrast and it's not very well legible, especially if you zoom out. You can totally see that the darker version builds up the contrast and creates, you know, this very well legible logo. But that could be something that we could maybe use for in cases where the logo does not necessarily have to be the first thing that you see. Maybe it's somewhere in the background. So maybe like an ad or something, and then there's text placed on top, and then the logo just in a very subtle, you know, contrast. So that would be the case to use the white on yellow then. Cool. Yeah, I'm really liking how this branding is coming along. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the colors? I'm having this black and white version here. Let me copy and paste this. By the way, to copy and paste, I'm holding Command and Shift, and I'm dragging the logo down. Now I can also go in here in my libraries and I can access all of these colors by just clicking them, right? So that can also help if you're working on a completely different side of your workspace and you don't want to, you know, zoom somewhere else to get the color that you need. So that's the reason why I also use the library sometimes. I think that's actually making a really cool contrast. Now let's see the contrary. Let's see the opposite. Let's see dark on white. So I'm going to copy paste this and I'm going to make this one white, and the logo I'm going to make dark. So that can also work. I feel like that is also really, really cool. I'm actually really enjoying this typeface, this one that we have been using. And again, to remind you guys, if you have not, you know, have not been following, or if you just joined, it's Freehouse Rough. It's a really, really cool typeface with a lot of texture. And now that I have outlined those, you can see that through this texture, I can see actually the color that's behind it. That's why texture is so cool, because you can, you know, make it match the background so well. Cool. So we have the white on black version. We have the black on white version, which is not necessarily black and white that I'm using, but cool. And now let's try this one. So what color can we put here? Maybe a white will build enough contrast. I think that could work potentially. We can also do is sometimes to just play around and experiment with colors. What I do is I just copy paste a couple logos and I see the different colors right away. So again, I'm holding Option to copy it and Shift to drag it horizontally. Okay, and now I'm going to try different colors. Again, I'm going into my libraries. So how about this red? I feel like this red is not, you know, building enough contrast. So let's try maybe a dark color. Yeah, I think that could work. I think for the yellow, for the orange, these two colors work the best, because we just saw that red doesn't really work. And what about yellow? Let's try yellow. Yeah, yellow could be cool too. So I feel like for this one, these three colors will work on top of this. And right now what I'm actually doing is I'm kind of trying to understand what colors work together, and that will also define my brand guidelines, right? So I'm kind of setting myself some rules, and I'm also setting rules for designers that will be working on this design in the future, right? So I will tell the designer or anybody in the brand guidelines that the background orange and the logo color red do not work together. So do not put red on orange, because it's not well legible. You won't be able to see it, right? Now let's try the yellow. What can we do with the yellow? I'm just going to kind of try and save time and just copy paste these. So let's see, maybe a red here. I think that could work. What do you guys think? Cool. Zion is saying branding is looking great. Yay, that's cool. Noor is saying love the shades of gray. And Andres is asking, do you use one artboard to each element that you're doing to create? To be honest, right now, I kind of got used to working with artboards that fit the screen perfectly. So this is an artboard that's, let's look at the exact size. It's 1920 by 1080. So it's basically the exact screen size. And the good advantage of this is that I can go into presentation mode and I can present this right away to my client right from Illustrator, right? I can go through my different designs and I can be like, hey, so this is the version and blah, blah. And so this format fits precisely to the screen, and that's the reason why I like doing that. Of course, you can also export the PDF and, you know, show the client the PDF in the end. Okay, cool. So okay, so we have some color exploration here. Now let's check what works on the dark color. Again, I'm just gonna copy paste these three and place them into the other artboard. Again, holding Option, dragging down, and holding Shift makes you drag it vertically 90 degrees in a 90 degrees angle, so you don't shift it to the side. But what you can also do is you can click Command and C, then click on the other artboard, Command Shift and V, and then it places it in place in the exact same position like in the previous artboard. So now we have dark on dark. Of course, you won't be able to see it, so I'm going here into my different colors. And I'm not sure how actually orange looks on the black color. I'm not sure that that will work. Also, I'm not sure about the yellow. Let's try the red. I think I would just stick with white on black if we're using a dark background or almost black background, that we're using the off-white color here. I think that could be a rule that we can set ourselves in this case, because I feel like the colors don't really pop inside the dark rectangle. So I'm just going to leave this as an option here, just white on black, black on white. And let's see on white, what can we do here? Do the other colors work? It's really exciting to always kind of try out, you know, different colors and see what works and what doesn't. So let's try yellow. And we kind of already had white on yellow, so we notice that that doesn't create a lot of contrast. It's kind of really bland and the logo doesn't really stick out. So I'm going to not use yellow on white. But orange on white, on the other hand, works super well. Here we will try the red color, and I feel like on the white background, orange, red, and black work all really well. So this is kind of how I experiment, and that can also be you know, part of a presentation that you create for your client, to show off different logos, to show off different color settings. So yeah. Okay, Bruno is asking, after to convert to graphic, are they not editable anymore? No, they aren't, because I have already set this concept and it's not editable anymore. So I cannot reverse this. If you want to keep a copy for your, you know, for safety reasons, let's say it's not Crazy Beans with an S anymore, but with a Z, and they change something, or they want you to change, instead of Coffee Roasters, I don't know, change it to something else. It's good to keep a copy, but in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, create it. And I just outlined those, but you don't have to do that. You can also keep a copy that's not outlined. All right, cool. All right, so we have all the different color explorations here, which is really interesting. And what we have not done yet, we have not experimented on the red color. So let me quickly copy and paste this artboard and place the red color on it. So I'm selecting the rectangle again, and on my keyboard shortcut I is the eyedropper. So I am copying the color from another object, right? So now I think that works really well, and I'm also interested in how other colors work on red. White definitely is an opportunity to you know, to use in our branding, but what about the other colors? So I'm going to just copy the logo again a couple times, and I'm going to use other colors here. So what about orange? What do you guys think about orange? Do you guys think that this could work? I'm not pretty sure that it kind of builds enough contrast, but on the other hand, it can build a really cool pattern. So let's quickly try how a pattern would look like. I think that's also an interesting exploration here to do. So let me remove all of these other ones. And what if I have something, I don't know, maybe like a paper, or maybe like a paper that you wrap the products in or something like that. So how does that work? That could work totally well, I think. I feel like orange on red could actually work as a, you know, as a background pattern, just also this in the same way like the opposite, so red on orange. And I feel like that could work really, really well here. Let me quickly make a clipping mask. Do you guys know what a clipping mask is? So let's say I have this artboard and I have some of the things sticking out. So what I want to do is I want to create some kind of frame for those. For all of those objects that are sticking out, I want to create a frame. So I'm just creating a rectangle and I am selecting the rectangle on top. Plus I'm holding shift and I'm selecting all of the things that are sticking out. Right? And then I'm right clicking it and I'm making a clipping mask. And now those things are placed inside the frame and you can always go in and adjust this frame. So you can go in and be like, hey, you know what? I want to show a little bit more of this. But anyway, this is how our clipping mask works. I think that's pretty cool. And now what can this be? So let's say this is kind of like a background and maybe we can even place something on top of this. So let's go in here in our header and place, let's say, or let's place this super fun wavy version of our logo and place it in really large over here into our artboard. And I'm going to make it really big right now. Okay, like that maybe. And I'm going to make it white. So right now, arrange, bring to front. Okay. So now this could be something fun, right? This could be some like fun, maybe like a packaging or something. What do you guys think? Cool. How to use Arabic text and font and type. So when you go onto fonts.adobe.com that I was showing you earlier, you can actually pre-select different languages. So let's say we're going here into browse fonts. You can go here in languages. And then you can select Arabic. And once you have selected Arabic, you will have a selection which is not very big, unfortunately. But here, those typefaces, they work in Arabic as well, which I think we should extend this. I feel like it's always important to have enough fonts. And I get you because I'm from Ukraine and I know that Russian doesn't have a lot of cool typefaces neither. So it's kind of difficult because imagine designing a typeface and then designing it for everybody will involve a lot of work. Imagine designing it for Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, Russian, European. Then there are certain other languages like German. German also has some extra characters. So I feel like, that is a really challenging part. And I'm hoping that there will be solutions in the future that will make it easier. All right, cool. Okay, all right. Do you outline when the logo is final? Yes. Well, in this case, this is just a practice exercise, so I have outlined it right away because I don't want to deal with resizing, and then when I resize, sometimes the typeface stays, the same size, and I don't want to deal with that. So I just outlined right away, and I'm, consuming it and treating it not as a typeface anymore, but as a graphic. Yay, Vanessa is saying love the orange one. Cool, awesome. Ash is saying great presentation. What are your thoughts on a two-color logo? I think that could work in this case as well. So I usually design in one color first, but then we can go in and we can still change some things up. So let's say we want to make coffee roasters, and since 2020 in a different color, we can totally do that. We can maybe use a yellow here, so we can create something fun like that. And let's experiment with that because I think that's a great idea. Let me just quickly copy paste this. And now what other color combinations could we use here? I feel like the darker color could also work really well over here. I feel like that could also make a really cool kind of composition, right? So that the first thing that you read is crazy beans, and then the second thing that you read is coffee roasters. Color, by the way, guys, can really help you to create hierarchy in your designs. Hierarchy basically means that something is more important and something is less important, right? And then you have basically like a filter, right? So you have the big things coming through first, and then the smaller things and the smaller things and the smaller things. That's how your brain works, right? We see the things that are either very bright, either very big, or having a lot of contrast. So here in this case, crazy beans, the words crazy beans not only are very bright, but also they are very large, and they're larger than coffee roasters, for example. And this is how you can create this hierarchy. And hierarchy can help you really guide the person who is looking at your design and help you guide them through the information that you want to provide to them, right? You have, as a designer, you have the influence about what they see first, what they see second, and the more you divide that information, the more room you kind of keep for them to process the information, the easier and the more comfortable the information is for the person who's viewing your design, right? Hopefully that makes sense. All right, what else do we have here? Any questions so far? Okay, could a wrap around the coffee cup? Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I think that could totally work. And how would that look like? Let's continue a little bit with our color explorations here. So I'm just going to copy paste this one here, and now let's take a look what it would look like if the center part will be, let's say, orange, and then the other part will be yellow. And here you can see that the hierarchy kind of changes a lot, because the yellow color has a bigger contrast to the dark red in the background, right? And that's the reason why when we zoom out here, we will be able to see coffee roasters. And since 2020, that's the first thing that we probably take a look at. And that kind of creates a little bit of confusion, because what you want to do is, when you're designing for a brand, you want to have the brand name first, because to brand the brand name into somebody's brain, that's the first purpose, of a branding designer. Because whenever they go somewhere, they will recognize it. It can be also a color or a shape, but that's something that you need to definitely keep in mind when you're designing something like this. The hierarchy matters. And here, if we take a look at this, so which one of these has the best hierarchy? Let's take a look at that. Which one of these has the best hierarchy? Number 1, number 2, or number 3? We can see number 1 has a very, very high contrast. We have crazy beans in completely white, and it sticks out a lot, right? It's almost like that information is something that we take right away. And then we have coffee roasters since 2020, which is kind of dark and maybe not that well legible anymore. Now then we have the center one, which crazy beans is still popping out a lot. And then we have coffee roasters since 2020. It's kind of subtly, the second thing that we see after a very short moment. Where is the third one? Cool. See, Tim is saying 2. Chantel is saying 2. I like the idea, and Shamira is saying 2. Okay, yeah, I agree. I think it's number 2, because we are placing the two parts of the information very closely together, but they do have a very strong hierarchy still. Whereas I feel like here the hierarchy is a little bit backwards. It's more like coffee roasters, crazy beans since 2020. So it does not give me the good flow of information. Yeah, I agree. I think number 2 definitely makes the most sense, because crazy beans definitely pops out, but also coffee roaster since 2020 has a lot of contrast to this background. So guys, what do we learn from color exploration? I think we learned that color exploration is really important in this phase to kind of see what kind of colors work together inside the logo, if we have a 2-colored logo, right? To build up this hierarchy. Cool, so we definitely are gonna go for this one, right? So let me just do a little selection here, like that. Okay, so now let's place it in the center so that we know, okay, we have selected. If we feel like this color combination works really well, and this is also how we can present it to the client. We can also just, present it to the client like that. Let's make this maybe red, white, and the fill is going to be no fill. And we're going to increase the stroke just a little bit so it's better legible. Okay, so now we can go in and be like, hey, client, I have created these different color combinations for your logo, but I feel like the hierarchy in this one works the best because, and we have learned today why it works the best, because Crazy Beans has a higher contrast and Coffee Roasters since 2020 has still enough contrast to the background, right? So this is, when I'm talking to a client, I'm not saying, hey, you know what, I think these colors look more pretty, and I feel like I like them the most. This is not how you argument, or not argument. Argument always sounds very negative, but really is just putting up an argument for a certain design, and that's not something that comes from you as a person, but something that is based on facts and based on science. And science is that we perceive higher contrast easier than lower contrast, and also the sizing of an object. So this is how I usually talk to a client. I don't tell them, hey, you know what, I think the colors look really pretty together, or anything like that. I tell them, hey, this builds the best hierarchy. Okay, and it's easy to read, of course. Now, if we have something like a stamp, something that's tiny, we do need that contrast that we have right here. So if we have a stamp, we will probably make the stamp really dark, because stamps can get really, really tiny, right? They can get really tiny, and you want to have that contrast. If you have something small, that it's still legible. If you zoom out here, you will be able to see. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this artboard. The black and white, I feel like, create the best contrast right now, and that's the reason why you can perceive them better and read the letters better. All right, my friends, so let's continue here. I feel like this is pretty cool. I like the kind of the difference between these different logos, and I want to experiment with that a little bit. So how could that be a part of our design? And I'm thinking that could be even something like a pattern, or something that we can arrange randomly. So let's try different compositions maybe here. So I'm holding Option and I'm copying pasting this, and usually I do a lot of copy pasting. Let me know if you guys are copy pasters as well. Copy pasting just creates a version before and a version after, so you can kind of compare and still go back. Chantel is saying those crazy letters are dope. Yeah, I really like them, just because also it's also crazy beans. It's not just beans, it's crazy beans. So let me see what I can do with this, and maybe I can create something even crazier. Okay, I'm just experimenting at this point, right? I'm not really doing anything final. It's just experiment, and to go into this mode where you can modify the vectors, you just double click on the group, and you kind of dive into this group. And once you dive into the group, you'll be able to access all the different objects that are placed inside a group, but you're not going to touch the background, which is really cool for me right now. So I'm gonna make it really crazy. Another thing that you can do is, when you're designing, think about how a person pronounced something, right? So if I'm making the A really large, it looks like crazy, right? As if the A is screaming. It's kind of like writing in caps. It's kind of like somebody is really saying it out loud. So let's make it pop. Let's make that actually a concept here. Crazy beans. Okay. So I'm gonna place that just a little bit below and maybe a little bit bigger, but definitely we have here the crazy beans sound like it actually is. And this is how I usually play around, I just place things in a different way, and then maybe something cool comes out. It's all about the experiment. It's all about seeing how they could work. And that's kind of interesting. I'm kind of liking this. I feel like this could be, I don't know, maybe like a title of a menu, but I would not really use it as a logo, let's say, to place it on the storefront. But let's see, maybe if we resize it and make it really really crazy, that could also work. So again, I'm gonna make a clipping mask around this so that we have a little frame around our artwork, so it fits right into the artboard. Okay, I'm selecting the rectangle and I'm selecting the artwork, right clicking it, and make clipping mask. Cool. Crazy beans. I'm really liking this. It's kind of comic almost, you know, very stylized. Cool. What if we just make the A large? So let's copy another version of this. Let's copy another version of this over here. And now let's experiment with the A. Crazy beans. So let me make the A large, and let's place all the other things to the side a little bit. And maybe can have a different arrangement, right? What if we have like a little arc going on? Crazy beans. Okay. Okay, I kind of like this. And also, how about we can use this as an element? Crazy. So what if we have an ad and then it says underneath, it says crazy, you know? That could be interesting too. Let's see, I feel like the Z is a little bit too extreme, so I'm gonna make it a little bit less extreme. And the R is a little too boring, so let's make the R a little bit more crazy. Cool. And for here, you can, if you want to make like a perfect, you know, grid, you can go in here and view and turn on the rulers. Where are they? Rulers, right there. Rulers, show rulers. So now we have these rulers pop up at the top and on the side. And now once we click and drag it, we can pop in one of these rulers. And those are pretty cool to give you kind of an orientation how things, you know, go. And by holding Option, you can copy one and paste it. So you know what I'm thinking? Let's go for, you know, for a little proportion measure here. So let's say we want to use the golden proportion, right? So here we have 3/8, and here we're gonna have 5/8. This is just very approximate. It's not even precise at all. But I'm going to resize the A just a little bit down. And I feel like that might improve, you know, my design, because the proportions will be, you know, more comforting, I feel like. And they say that in nature, you know, the golden proportions are really comforting for our eye. And you can see now that the A is occupying a lot of space, while the C, R, Z, and Y, not so much. So what if we create a variation of this? So let's lock the background with Command and 2. And I'm going to hold Option and Shift to create a copy. So now I have created a copy, and as you can see, when I'm creating a copy of this, also the guides, the rulers are, the guides that I have pulled in are also being copied, which is pretty cool. So what if we make what if we pull in the guide a little bit up? Let's see. The guide a little bit up and make it that way, so that basically the golden proportions are just a little bit differently distributed, so that the bigger part is at the bottom and the smaller part is at the top. So now what we can do is we can go in here in the group, and we can resize the A to this, and the Z and the Y, let's see, to this size. How would that work? And the Y can even be a little bit smaller and be kind of the golden proportion of this distance. So how would that work? We have a little better hierarchy, I feel like. We don't only have the A as the biggest, as the largest letter, we have the R and the Z also kind of competing with it a little bit, kind of stealing its attention a little bit, because the A is, you know, it's very dominant right now. So what can we do to kind of improve this hierarchy? All right, so maybe something like that. Let's see how that looks. Ooh, it is kind of interesting. I'm kind of liking this. So now if you want to remove the guides, you can simply select the guides, okay, they're grouped inside here. So we'll have to go into the group, select the guides, and delete them. There we go. Yeah, by the way, guides act like, you know, part of a group as well, kind of like objects. So now, guys, we have so many variations now to kind of, I had a lot of fun with this so far. How are you guys enjoying? Cool. All right. talking about the golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence. Yes, exactly. The golden ratio is what I was talking about. Golden proportions. Yay! It looks like a circus poster. Yeah, I think so too. I think it looks very crazy, and while this one is more like a settled version of the logo, and this is kind of evolving in its own, you know, own concept. Cool. All right, so now let's pull in the little wavy one. I feel like that can also give us some cool ideas of how the colors could look like. So again, I'm copying pasting this artboard here, and I'm going to remove all of these, place the background to the background, arrange send to back, and now we have the wavy logo somewhere here. Where is it? Okay, let's copy it again. Command, it's option, shift, option and drag over, and that's how you copy something into a new artboard. Okay, so, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm really liking this. What if we make something like a cool pattern out of that? Ooh, I like that. I think that's pretty neat. Yeah, I feel like that logo can be used as pattern really well. So let's do that. What we can also do is, guys, if you have ever experimented with patterns, you can make this a pattern. If you go into Object, Pattern, Make. And here you will get all the cool pattern options. Okay, so now we'll be able to preview. Oh, I like that. This is really cool. Let's see. Yeah, I like this. It looks so wavy. I'm really liking this. I'm going to save this pattern. So I'm clicking done. And now I have this pattern saved into my swatches. So let me copy and paste one of these on top. I'm going into my swatches panel. Where is it? Where is it? There. And I have my pattern. Yay! And I can fill any object with that. So let's say I have a little circle, or let's say I have a polygon even, right? I have a polygon and it's already filled with my artwork. But let's say it's filled with a color, right? Let's say it's filled with white. Now I want to fill it with my pattern. I can go into that pattern. It's really tiny over here. You probably don't even see it, but it's saved into my swatches. So I can click on that. Of course, I have to have the object selected, and boop, and I already have something cool going on. I really like that. So now let's say I want to create a variation maybe in black, but also I want to create a variation in my other colors. I feel like orange and red were a little bit, you know, were meant for each other to create a pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the same logo, and again holding option, and I'm going to make it, let's make the background here dark red, and the logo, I'm using the shortcut I for the eyedropper, and I'm going to make the logo orange. I feel like those are really made for each other to create a pattern. As we see here, this does not create a lot of contrast, which can be really, really cool to use, you know, as a pattern, even on cups or on packaging. Here, there's a lot of contrast, so you can't really place text on top or any other graphic objects, because it won't create enough contrast to stick out. But in this case, the orange and the red are really not that far from each other. So they will create a great pattern together. You know, an overlay pattern, basically. Again, what I'm going to do is I'm selecting the object, and I'm going to Object, Pattern, Make. So again, the Illustrator tells me that it's going to save the pattern to the swatches panel. Okay. And here we have, again, the same thing going on. Okay. Make sure when you resize to hold Shift so that you resize proportionally. Okay. Yay, that could work. Okay, so now let's place this to the side. Oh, actually, I think I removed it. Let's see. Oh yeah, no, it's saved. Okay, cool. All right, so now, now let's create a copy of this. Holding Option, you can create a copy. And I'm going to fill it with that orange pattern. Woo, I think that looks pretty fun. Crazy beans. Awesome. Yeah, I'm really loving this. And then you can also do something cool like that, where you kind of overlay just one of those, and make it, let's say, our white color. So where is it? Yay! And now we have something cool like that going on. So, and then you still can see through all of these, you know, texture points in between. So that's pretty neat. And we can even create some like shade effect in here. So you guys can really play around with it and have fun. Let's see if there are any questions last minute. Reverb is saying I usually try to not to objectify objects. Okay. Edita is saying, would you present your work to the client directly in Illustrator? It depends who you're presenting to. It's not the most professional way, but you can if you want to. If you don't want to show them a messy artboard like that, maybe you should just export it as a PDF, and that you can do if you go into File, Export, or no, you can save as, and then you can save it as a PDF. Here you can go into PDF, and then it saves it as PDF, and you can preview and make a presentation. All right, my friends, this was so much fun. We have created some logos, some color palettes, a library. It all looks really fun, and I had so much fun, you know, working in these really fancy colors. Cool. Ashraful is saying shade effect. Yes, I was basically just overlaying the logo on top of the pattern. That's all I did. All right, my friends, so make sure to stay tuned for Jason and the Video Daily Creative Challenge. It was so much fun hanging out with you guys. Thanks so much, and hopefully I'll see you next time for another really cool round of Illustrator. Have a good day, have a good week, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.